Okay, so I'm honestly getting better at this because I realized I think YouTube limits my videos to 15 minutes. Um, Maybe it's actually 10. We're going to figure this out. So anyways, we're still essentially, third video in the series, but take two. Second subject, Tyler Perry. Okay, why do I like Tyler Perry so much? He has an inspiration that he brings to this world because he's overcome so much in his life. And it's so admirable. He wears his heart on his shoulders, and he gives hope to people who have been in the most hopeless circumstances. I believe each of us can speak to different people in different ways, and he reaches a certain audience that so needs that positivity, so needs that strength to believe again in their dreams, that they can rise to a higher occasion, that they can overcome things that have been so devastating in their lives. And he does this through the experiences that he's been through. He has been through so much, and because he did not grow bitter, he grew better. He is empowering so many people. They believe, well, if he did it, if he rose to the occasion, if he was abused so bad by his father when he was a young child, that he wanted to kill himself, and he chose not to. And not only did he choose not to, but he kept going after his dreams. He didn't give those bad things power in his life. He grew stronger. He grew greater. It's just so admirable. I really appreciate people like that in this world, because when it comes down to it, we have all been through bad experiences. There are different degrees of goodness and badness in this world, and different degrees of evilness in this world. I'll be honest, I'm going to be politically incorrect here. I am a Democrat, I'm very liberal. But when people say stuff like President George Bush Jr. is evil like Osama bin Laden, I'm like, what are you talking about? There are different degrees of goodness, badness, and evilness, and it's so bizarre how people make just such out-of-this-world connections sometimes. I think it's completely outrageous. Anyways, getting off the track, which is very much like me, and I'm not going to change that. I think it's good to go off on rants, because you learn to really express what you want to, and you do get your point across. If I wanted to be more directed, I could be and I would be, but I want to make these videos the way I want to make them. So I'm going to sometimes go on a whim and go out there and say things that don't necessarily flow into my topic. But as my videos progress, you will begin to read me better, and maybe your mind will grow a little bit too in its thinking pattern. So anyways, back to Tyler Perry. He has a depth that is so needed in this world. And I love how he brings humor to such funny situations. Sometimes I'm so intense in my drive and focus, I forget to laugh. And I need it. I need to just chill out. And he talks about how humor really, it was his saving grace. It helped him pull through things that were just so devastating and sad. And I can relate to this. I never liked to play poor me, pity party. But I always like to let people know certain things that I've been through. Not because I want to say, oh, poor me. But I want to say, hey, if I can pull through this, I want you to believe that you have the power to pull through it too. And that's an empowering mentality. I teach to empower. I teach to build people up, and I share to make people believe that they have so many more capabilities than they're brainwashed to think that they have. They can rise to the occasion. It just starts with the belief. So Tyler Perry actually, he came into my life, or his works came into my life because my father introduced them to me, and he was really moved by Tyler Perry, and there's certain things my father has taught me in my life that I can't ignore. My father is heaven sent. I know that with all of my heart. And so is my mother, and so are my brothers. So my father can get my attention oftentimes, like no one else can, because there's just certain things he's told me that have literally saved my life in certain situations. So I really try to, when my father tells me something, I'm not always going to agree, but I just try to listen because I think there's a reason. And so, anyways, he introduced me to Tyler Perry's works. I'm a fan of many people, but I don't spend my time, enthralled in someone or something. I'll check out some of their work, da-da-da. But what's interesting about my connection with Tyler Perry is simply this, and I think it's just really dynamic. So, I've always been a fan of Oprah Winfrey, and, I never was really into her videos, or, her series, but I was just this woman, this strength. There was something about her that I could relate to, and I just admire it so grandly. And I admire all the great things she does in this world, and so do many people. So Tyler Perry, he's connected to Oprah Winfrey because now he's actually friends with her. He read something or saw a video clip of hers that talked about her suggesting her audience to write things down because it's very therapeutic. So Tyler Perry did this. And this actually turned into the momentum of all that he is today. Because he started writing things down, it evolved into one thing after another, and so history says itself. What's interesting, okay, so last summer I went through something very sad, very detrimental, and someday I will have the right platform to really share the whole story of what happened to me in such a short frame amount of time. I went from cloud 9 to cloud -9 very quickly in a short amount of time. And when you go through something like that, it's very difficult to come out of it. There were so many factors that were really against me. And no matter how much emotional support you can have around you at that time, if you do not have the will to rise, you most definitely will not. There is no other way but to have to walk to overcome something like that. And many people have been through difficult experiences in their life. I never want to say I'm exclusive. But I will be truthful that I felt like I was walking dead for a couple of months. Probably a good 5 months. The energy in my body felt little to nothing. There was a huge energetic shift that that manifested in me after my attack. And the fact that obviously I literally came back to life after what my attacker did to me. It was just another battle to, first overcome physical damage, and then it was a mental damage that had been done, emotional, so many, and financial damage. So I had been attacked from every corner, and I really had to, so much change in such a short amount of time. Like I said, there was a huge energetic shift, and I felt like I was walking dead. I was numb. I couldn't feel things anymore. I couldn't taste things. It's obviously a very low state of depression, but I understand it on a deeper level and a complex level. When you are physically